Hello, everyone, and I'm delighted today to be here with you and with Susan Kennard. Morning, Susan.
Morning, Sylvia. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, I'm really interested to hear what we're going to discover because I don't know yet either. So I'm quite excited.
It's the best way.
Susan is a spiritual practitioner, shall we say, that helps people with spiritual matters of energy, of cosmic consciousness, of the soul. But she didn't start out like that. She started out as a psychotherapist. And so I'm thinking that there must have been, at some point, some kind of experience, a star event of some kind that made you decide to step outside, shall we say, the boundaries of the psychotherapy profession. And I would love you just to tell me about it, Susan.
Sure, thank you. So what comes to mind is that actually before I even qualified as a psychotherapist, and I trained at the Tavistock Centre in North London in analytical psychotherapy. And before that, I had a psychology degree. And so what happened was I had a awakening at around about 27. I'm 51 now. And that awakening was when a very good friend of mine who had previously been a boyfriend actually took his life. And at that point, I was still kind of doing the end of my degree in psychology. And I was working as a nanny, actually, and I was funding my postgraduate degree in psychotherapy. And at that point, I had this experience where he took his life and he was the other side of the world, and his girlfriend let me know. And he came to me, and I'd never had any spiritual experiences like that before. And it was sort of like a bump in the night, but it was an awakening in the night. And the sense was that someone was with me. And of course, I never would have believed that if I hadn't have actually seen it.
Let's slow down here just a little bit, and let's bring that memory to life of this experience. So, where were you at the time?
I was lying in bed. It was the middle of the night, and it was almost like I was awake, but I wasn't awake. And I sensed that there was somebody in the room. And of course, you know, when you're fast asleep, you're a woman on your own in London, in a flat, that sense that there's someone in the room, but you can't move. So there's not
Scary.
that move. Yeah. But in that moment, it wasn't scary. It was when I thought about it afterwards, it was scary. So in that moment, it didn't feel fearful. It just felt that it was happening, and it was in that experience.
Being in the moment there.
Yeah, in the moment. And I sensed who it was, but I didn't know who it was until later. And I had a reading with someone. This is fast tracking it. Someone actually gave me a reading because they said, "Oh, you keep talking about this thing that happened to you in the night, you know, let's find out." And so then this person who didn't even know me actually brought through Martin, who I actually named my son after many years later, and your partner's Martin. So it's a beautiful, energetic name. But Martin, so she brought Martin through, and I was just blown away. I was like, oh my goodness, I had no idea that, you know, people could even do this, you know, connect with someone. So fast forward, actually, that was my first star moment, I would say. And in astrology, that would be my Saturn return. And it's always like a really big deal. And we can either choose to listen to that and go on that path, or we make it really difficult for ourselves. So I had this kind of star moment awakening, and it led me then to develop a way of being that I didn't even mean to have. I was a psychologist. I was training as a psychotherapist. I certainly was not thinking about being a channel for spirit or working as a medium. That was not on my path, well, that I knew of. And that's really good.
I could see that.
Yeah. And I was kind of the science base and evidence base and all of that. So I'm really glad that I'd obviously chosen on my path to be able to see spirit, because if I hadn't have seen it, I never would have believed it. So it was like I was given that many years later. I mean, I resisted it for ages and ages and ages. But one of the key things I think about it was learning transcendental meditation. And that was another star moment, because I kept seeing these adverts for transcendental meditation, or TM, and I kept seeing them on the tube, in London, in magazines. I thought, I was overlapping a degree. I was doing a postgrad. I was really, really busy, and I was working as well. And I needed something to quieten my mind. So all this had happened. And then I learned TM. And it was from that moment I was doing my psychotherapy training. And I thought, this isn't what this is about. And I was only in my first year. So I knew I had still a couple more years to do with my postgraduate. And I thought, this is not what this is about. It is not. But I paid all this money. It was a really good qualification to have. And I'm really glad I stuck with it, because what happened was I could look outside of the box. I could see more than I was being told. And I think this is where we're coming into our moments of our inner knowing and our consciousness. You know, we talked about a lot, Sylvia. And that part of me was only just awakening. I mean, I was definitely not completely aware. And I was just waking up. And I was starting to see that what people were saying, it's like, what are you talking about? You're analyzing something for absolutely no reason. And the thing that really is funny, I remember being in one of the lectures, almost falling asleep, and we were talking about our observations. And one woman had an observation with a woman, a baby. We had to do psychoanalytic observation of babies and mothers at that time. And she talked about cakes being brought out, and I'll never forget this. It was just hilarious. And she said, I felt that the mother chose the cakes with the cherry on the top because it reminded her of her breasts. And I mean, literally, I was just like, yeah, right. She probably did, but, is that really relevant? And if it had been me now, I would have said, really? But anyway, that's just kind of how it was then. So that was kind of like a light bulb moment, or a star moment, that made me realize that actually the way to someone's heart is not through analyzing them, and really picking them to pieces.
Just a minute. You just said something there which is really very heretical. You said the words, the way to someone's heart. Now, please, we all know a heart is just a muscle that goes boom, boom, and it does nothing more than that. And there is no way to anybody's heart, because it's all in the brain.
Yeah.
And there is no heart in psychology. There's no heart in psychotherapy. There is no concept of emotions in science. I mean, psychology doesn't even have a bloody definition for emotions. It's insane. And you are quite right. I mean, having been in the box and knowing what the box is like inside, because most people don't know this. Most people think that this box of psychology really does contain the wisdom of, what makes people work the way they do. But it doesn't.
No.
It doesn't, because
it's an energetic aspect of us, isn't it, Sylvia? So my heart is connected to your heart now, as we are, in my opinion, unified light of consciousness.
It's an energy connection, an energy flow. I mean, I was an animal behavior research scientist, and I saw that there was this energy exchange between people and animals, and people and in each other, and that if you improve this energy flow, that behavior changes.
Yeah, exactly.
Practically, behavior changes. So what we're talking about here is not some kind of weird woo-woo, but it's a real thing. And so many people have had moments of enlightenment, and to start talking about those, I think, is really super important, because it's going to be completely overlooked again as a phenomena to be studied. To be compared, to find parameters for. And it is what, oh God, it's what our lives we're talking about here.
It could not
be more important.
Who we are.
Let me come back a moment for to the original experience in the half dream, half sleep state, which was really what kicked it all off, wasn't it?
I would say so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say so. You know, having that was something that, you know, could have been seen as a really scary experience. And it was, when I thought about it, when I woke up the next day. But after that, there were many experiences where I was out of body. So I'd be lying in my bed and I'd see myself kind of asleep. And these sort of things happened quite a lot after that. And then I, you know, fast tracked and started to, you know that it was really important to remember. And I didn't realize I was remembering, but I read everything. I was at the College of Psychic Studies, where I was like you, I was being a scientist. I was like finding evidence. I was looking at it. I was going, is this true? Is that really it? You know, is it? And I did so many courses, I met some amazing teachers, and I really am very grateful for that. Because in those days, you know, really you didn't talk about it. You didn't really, in London, ended up working on the platforms in London, giving evidence of survival. And I was working in child protection as a trauma specialist at the same time. So it was kind of like a parallel life, and we didn't talk about it. And so I was very blessed. I feel very blessed.
It's like that. It's like sending a soldier to war without a gun. Sending a psychologist into battle with crazy clients without a concept of emotions or spirituality is just amazing. It is amazing how we should have come to that. But the other thing that I wanted to comment on, the story with the woman who chose the cake with the cherry on top because she's so obsessing about her breastfeeding. Having breastfed myself, I can tell you I was certainly not obsessed by it. I thought it was extremely strange, kind of groovy in some ways, but I think that it's people that don't do it obsess about it.
I did.
Like men, for example, they get very, very excited about the whole thing, much more so than mothers who actually do the breastfeeding. But the example of that cake thing, and that this laughter just bubbled up inside of you.
Within me, I just thought, what is this all about?
We've got a category of star events called starlight. And that's exactly that, when that happens, when something something that was weird or strange, and in this bubbling up of laughter like a fountain. And clearing the path, and it is one of the fastest raisers of energy, laughter.
Absolutely.
It also often has these powerful insights with it, and really changes the way you think about stuff.
It's like a release, isn't it? Yeah, it's like a release. But I carried it on, you know, and I'm glad I carried it on, because actually it really took my career to a different place. And it led me, this is like fast tracking again, but led me years later to have a practice in Harley Street. That led me to actually be in the media, as you know, and it led me to
your new book.
My new book. Well, that's very exciting. I mean, it's been kind of within me, as a lot of us have got books within, and you've had many births, many, and many more to come, I'm sure.
I found a way to let them out.
Have you?
Yeah. And what you do is you get yourself some kind of a keyboard, and you sit in front of it, and you write one sentence at a time. Works like a charm. And over years,
I did that. Yeah. And finally, I took the plunge.
Well, I know you've been thinking about writing a book for a long time, but was there something that triggered you, that a star moment that gave you that boost of energy that we need to say, yes, now I'm going to do it?
You know, I feel what it was that within my book, it's called, working title, Awaken the Light Within, but it's all my processes that I was given when working with veterans many years ago, and formed from EFT many years ago. And I felt like it's another way of reaching people. And I just felt like, and it's really important to have many ways to reach people. And I felt like it was really time for more people to heal themselves and realize that they're an energetic soul having a human experience. And the guides weaved through beautiful stuff. And I had this moment, and I just went, actually, And they kept telling me, they, meaning my team of amazing beings that work with me, but they kept showing me the second book. And I'm like, you cannot show me the second book because this one isn't out yet. And they're like, get it out. So they're showing me the second book with DNA on the front and all of that, which will be soon being channeled. But at the moment, until this one has actually got its contract and its publishing deal and all that, I actually didn't want to start the second one. Even though I was being told quite a lot about it.
I might have something to say on that. I found a quote by Andy Warhol, which reads, make art. Some people will like it, some people will hate it. But whilst they're still discussing your art, make more art.
Yeah, I know. And they keep telling me, more. And so I have a doctor that works with me, one of my
I'm just going 100% behind your spirit guides here and saying, just write the second book.
Yeah,
and write the third and the fourth and the fifth and the 20th. Just keep the flow. Keep the flow. But that moment, I'm interested in the moment for the first book, when the moment had come, because I've been thinking about Star Matrix for over 20 years. For over 20 years, I've been thinking about what we should do with positive memories. But I remember when the moment came, when that was, that I was just like, I've got to put this out now.
Yeah.
Now. I've been thinking about it, but there was that moment. And I'm wondering when that moment was, when you sort of went, yeah, I'm going to do it.
I don't know if there was, I've got another thing I can talk to you about where there was a moment, and I'll tell you that star moment in a moment. But this was more that I could see the benefits that people were getting, and other people were using these processes, and they were saying, oh, I've worked with this person and they've this and this. And I was getting so many people contact me and say, after doing that, I just feel completely different about my partner or something. And I was like, well, actually, this has been here in this form, because I taught that course, Sparkle to Success. I taught it, and all of those processes are now evolved, but in my book. And I thought, actually, I've already kind of written it. I might as well just get it out there. And not just in a manual form, but actually in a book form. And so the guide started to channel healing through it, and it was beautiful. And so that's when I did it. But it was a moment of realizing that I'm keeping this to myself. And actually, that's not what energy is about. It's about sharing the wisdom that comes through you to others. Yes, and I think that was key, really key. And, I handed it over to the universe when I sent it into the Hay House Writers Competition. I just went, you know what? If it's meant to be out there in this way, then it will be this way. And, very blessed that I was given the opportunity, and I won a publishing contract. So that's really exciting.
Many congratulations. That's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, I was really, really honoured for that, and honoured from the universe as well. So I was very excited now the hard work begins, right? But that's the kind of thing, that happens now, where we allocate 3D reality of our working week. And that's what, I'll definitely have to do, and I have sorted that already. But one awakening moment, I will say, and this is quite relevant for now, what's going on in the world, not specifically what's going on in the world, but the choices that people are making in the world now for themselves. The key thing was a big star moment, I would say, was when I chose to be a single parent with my 2 babies. And I remember that day really clearly, sitting on my bed, and I had my baby was like 2.5, one of them, and the other one was 11 months old. They're now 13.5 and 12, so a long time ago. And I remember sitting on my bed crying and thinking, what is this all about? And I sensed my nan with me, who passed away, my mum's mum, and could see all these beautiful stars, beautiful blue stars to the left of me. And the sense I got was, whatever, you're always looked after, you're always protected, and you have to do what's in your heart. And I'd been waiting for the right time. I was in an emotionally abusive relationship, which, you know, was really healing for me because I stepped out of it and became who I am. But at the time, it was a really difficult place to be. And so I knew that for the sake of myself, but also for the sake of my children, it was really important that we were not in that energy. And so I made that decision, and I'd kind of planned it, but I had no idea when it was going to happen. You know, it was like I knew the moment would come. And it was that moment that I just thought, what am I doing staying in this? And it was in that moment I got this incredible energy through me of life force, and I can only call it life force. And both babies were asleep, and I stood up with tears rolling down my face, knowing that my nan was with me and so on. And I walked downstairs and I said, I can't do this anymore. This is it. And at that moment, that was when, you know, obviously all hell broke loose in that moment. But from that moment on, I felt so strong. And I would say that if, you know, people are in a situation where, whether it's their job, whether it's their romantic relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's something else, 100%, when you know it's that star moment that Sylvia talks about, you have the vitality, you have the strength, and you're always looked after. And I always say the universe has your back, because once you step out of the victim aspect of yourself and you say, you know what, I'm trusting that this is right, then absolutely 100% you can do anything. And I hadn't thought about the money. I hadn't thought about how I was going to survive. I hadn't thought about none of that came into it. It was just, I have to do this. And I think that this is happening a lot in the world now as we record this interview. You know, people are making choices about themselves that perhaps they wouldn't have made before. And the strength is coming through, because I feel like our light is getting stronger. We're connected in such a deep way now. I call it ascension, but we're connected in that seamless love in such a strong way. And I think that we need to be aligned, you know, to unconditional love of ourselves. And that is what I think it's all about, really.
Yeah, this is a very interesting star memory of the blue light with the stars and the grandmother having your back. This is a very, very powerful thing as a personal power positive. So that's well good. I really love that. Well, so that's 3 wonderful stories of enlightenment from you.
Yeah.
And 2 of those, and see, look, 2 of those are what we call star dreams. And a star dream is something that didn't happen in such a way that you can take pictures of it with a camera. But they happened in a meditation, drug experience, in a dream.
Oh, I've got another one where I saw the book of my cover of my book when doing plant medicine many years ago. And I was shown it, and I was just told, I mean, obviously I worked with my guides, it was about 4 years ago, and they said, it doesn't matter what you call your book, just have the word light in it. And they showed it to me and showed me lots of universal stuff as well, secrets of the universe. And that was a star moment, big time.
And so really, what's really cool about the conversation we're having here, the reason that I put the star dreams into Star Matrix is that what we really need to understand is that the star memories that happen in the heart with babies, with women, with cupcakes, and the ones that we have in what I call sanctuary, so not in the heart, they need to be connected. They need to be in the same place, because oftentimes the star dreams cause you to change your behavior in the heart. So, like, let's say you had this star experience of seeing your grandmother with the blue light and the stars, right? This caused your aspect to get up and end the relationship. And there may have been a moment, a star moment, say, like a little bit after the arguments and the screaming, where the aspect went out into the garden, let's say, took a deep breath and went, yes. And that you
there
could
were
have
amazing
taken.
moments afterwards. Yeah, like getting rid of the sofa, getting rid of the curtains that I always hated, all those things. And I remember dancing and twirling around in my lounge at the time, and just the sense of freedom that just came over me. And then, of course, there was a huge amount of, emotion and
Oh
feeling
God, yeah,
very
all sorts of
tired.
hassle.
Yeah.
But that my theory, this is my theory, is that the hassle doesn't matter, it's forgotten. It
Yeah,
doesn't make it
exactly.
to the next life.
Yeah.
What makes it to the next life are our high energy star experiences. But what I'm trying to say here
That's
is that
beautiful.
the star dreams, they've been always denigrated as fantasy, as you've been stupid, you've been mentally ill. But they are super important because that's where action begins. The star dreams
Yeah.
precede the action. There will be
Yeah.
no book with the light in the title that you can, whack on the. It's hard. It's a hard book, but it would never have come into being if it hadn't been for the mystical experience first.
Yeah.
And so what we do in Star Matrix is we put the star dreams in the same timeline,
Yeah.
so that you can start to understand how these things have affected your life and how you went from one thing to the other, and that it wasn't random.
No,
That your
I
life
don't think it's
wasn't like some
random.
random cork floating on the, down a waterfall. It wasn't. There were certain events that directed you
Yeah.
in a certain direction. And
Absolutely.
that's what so I'm super pleased that you told me of 2 star dreams and just 1 star memory from the heart, which happened with the woman with the cake.
Yes.
Yes. So this is to me in the psychology box, you really have got these weird hallucinations that nobody really takes seriously. Although metaphors are super powerful and they really should.
Yeah.
But there's this whole 5 sense science, what I call 5 sense science, where if it wasn't captured on a videotape or on an audio recording, or you have witness statements, it didn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's unimportant and it doesn't matter. And oh my God, the star dreams matter so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they formulate, an energetic imprint really within you, as you're walking about the world. I like the ready brick kind of like analogy. You're walking about the world and you're just like walking around and you're this vibrational, beautiful light, and you match with others that are, a match of your light. And that's where your beautiful community grows, and you start to really align to who you are and what you're meant to do in the world and who you're meant to serve and who you're meant to be with. And those ones that are not a vibrational match anymore, we have to thank them and love them for who they were, to show us a little bit more about our light that we needed to experience and expand. And then we move on. Yeah. And
there is a trajectory as well. I think when you connect with some of these star memories that got you to where you are today, see, not the trauma memories, because the trauma only tells you what not to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't guide you to the future.
Yeah.
Whereas the star memories, they are meaningful. You can see how you went from one thing to another, and another and another and another, and it makes sense. But not only that, it's very super useful for the here and now, makes you feel better about yourself. But it also has this effect of creating this trajectory. And when your grandmother said, you are protected, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
That is that trajectory.
And then you always know. And then what do I do in the world? I help people, align to why they're here and who they are, and let them know that the universe always has their back. So it's
both of us do provide a lot of free content for people who can't afford our professional services.
Yeah.
You do free live streams and meditations and all
I
sorts,
do.
don't you?
Yeah, I do.
I'll leave a link to your main.
Thank you. Yeah,
thing.
it's just my name. People can find me at Susan Kennard wherever, on my website, susankennard.co.uk. Yeah. Thank you, Sylvia.
Yeah, and the same with me. I provide free content so that anybody can, get the basics without paying anything at all.
Exactly. And that's really important. We've got everything on offer. So Sylvia, you offer that, I offer that. And I think it's really important.
Yeah. And
so we can reach people.
That I would also like to say is that what we also need is not just one guru, one prophet.
Oh.
I always say that we need so many different.
We don't actually need a guru. We don't, but we need people that resonate with our heart and our vibration and that understand.
And talk of it, and in that silence of the other realms, end this idea that cosmic consciousness is for the feeble-minded.
Yeah.
And that the scientists are the ones that are intelligent. This is not the case. It's a lacking intelligence.
Yes. And your own soul knows its own path and its intelligence, and you know it all. You're just remembering, and sometimes we forget. This is just my opinion, but we forget, who we are and the incredible power that we have. And so then we might listen to somebody else to tell us what to do, and of course that's never our own truth. Well, very rarely our own truth.
And this is why I'm so excited about Star Matrix, because I've always felt this. Because Star Matrix, I'm not telling you what I know. I'm asking you, what do you know? What have you experienced yourself where you were there? And then what has happened? How did you feel? What did you learn from that?
Yeah.
And because all these people who've just looking at trauma all the time, they're missing the point of who they are.
Yeah. There's so much more, isn't there?
Oh God, yeah.
Thank you, Sylvia.
This is really exciting stuff. I'm
you.
really looking forward to when your book comes out.
Thank you.
I also like all the spirit guides. Ooh, I'm going to advise you to start writing book 3 right away. Right away.
Yeah.
Right away.
I hear you.
Get those
I hear you.
for early nights and write book 2 as well. Seriously, I know from writing books that I learned so much from organizing my thoughts, and I also have these wonderful things come in that I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, you've forgotten. You did know, but you forgot. And they come in through you.
New information in fact, I like to write books about something that I would like to learn more about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my second one is about DNA consciousness. They're showing it me now. So DNA consciousness and our beautiful cosmic part of our DNA, which is the crystalline part. And I think that's our healing part, really our true mission. Cool. Yeah, we'll see.
Really exciting. And look at the two of us here, and we are looking forward to the future. We're excited about our project.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, projects are amazing.
We might not have luxury yachts and billions. We're having a good time enjoying our lives and trying to make the world a better place and bring more love and light. That's the absolute core mission, isn't it?
Absolutely, to bring I can see it changing and shifting in the world, and as much as we might look at what's in the world, that's just one perception. We can also look out of that and see that there is an incredible awakening going on, and amazing, beautiful souls coming out in the world to be of service is what we were kind of meant to do. So
cool. Okay, so thank you so much, Susan, for your time and for your beautiful star memory stories of enlightenment.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful thing, and I look forward to sharing lots more. Well, thank you so much for listening, everybody.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again soon. So bye from me, and bye from Susan.
Take care.
Take care.